All right, let's talk about something that might sound a little controversial. The subtle art of not giving a fuck. Now, before you jump to conclusions, this isn't about being a jerk or becoming indifferent to the world. Not at all. It's actually a philosophy about reclaiming your power. It's about finding real, genuine freedom by being incredibly smart and strategic about where you put your energy. So, you ready to dive in and learn the real art behind it all? Let's get started. I mean, really think about it for a second. Does it ever feel like you're just completely drained? Our world, our culture, it's constantly screaming at us from all directions. Do more, be more, post more, keep everyone happy all the time. It's this non-stop cycle of pressure, and it leads to so much stress and anxiety. We end up pouring all of our precious energy into things that, when we're really honest with ourselves, just don't matter in the grand scheme of things. It's kind of like trying to fill a bucket that has a giant hole in the bottom. You just keep pouring and pouring, and you end up with nothing but exhaustion. And what are these things we're pouring our energy into? Well, it's the weight of every little opinion, isn't it? What your boss thinks, what that person on social media said, what your family expects. Every single expectation, every tiny mistake you replay in your head over and over again. These things don't just weigh on us for a moment. They become these heavy chains. Every single one adds another link, and before we know it, we're just dragging this immense weight around. We're literally giving away our focus, our joy, our mental peace, and half the time we don't even realize we're doing it. But what if? What if there was a way to break free? And here it is. This is the absolute heart of the entire idea. This is the secret sauce. True freedom isn't about getting more things to care about. It's about getting rid of the things that don't deserve your attention. See, it's not about being careless, it's about being incredibly deliberate. Your time, your energy, your focus, these are your most valuable resources. They're finite. And learning what not to care about is like unlocking a superpower. It allows you to finally focus on the stuff that actually moves the needle in your life. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, right? But what does it actually look like in the real world? How does this philosophy really play out day to day? Well, let's look at a couple of stories. These are stories about real people who completely transform their lives, not by adding more, but by strategically caring less. So let's meet Jake. And I bet some of you will recognize a bit of yourselves in him. On the outside, Jake was the poster child for success. You know the type. He got the best grades, he was flying up the corporate ladder, everyone seemed to admire him. But on the inside, it was a totally different story. He was running on fumes, just completely empty. He was fueled by this constant gnawing anxiety and this deep feeling of hollowness. Every tiny bit of criticism didn't just sting, it felt like a total personal failure. Because his entire identity was wrapped up in desperately trying to be everything to everyone. And then he came across this idea, a single sentence that became his turning point, the realization that you simply cannot be an everything to everyone. You have to choose. And so he did. He started small, really small. He started saying no to extra projects he didn't care about. He consciously decided to ignore trivial office drama. He just stepped away from it. Now, was it easy at first? Absolutely not. It felt wrong, selfish even. But with every little choice, every time he chose what mattered to him, he felt this incredible sense of peace and focus starting to grow. He was building real, authentic confidence, not the fragile kind that depends on other people's approval. Okay, now let's talk about Mia. Her story might hit even closer to home for a lot of us. Mia's life was just a constant blur of activity. Her Google Calendar was a rainbow of packed appointments. Her phone was buzzing off the hook from the moment she woke up. But one day, she just hit a wall, a breaking point, and she had this terrifying realization that she was living her entire life on autopilot. She was just going through the motions, fulfilling everyone else's expectations, but she had no idea what she actually wanted. She was completely trapped on a hamster wheel of obligations, running faster and faster, but going absolutely nowhere. So what did Mia do? She started with these small, quiet acts of rebellion. She looked at an invitation to a party she didn't want to go to, and she just declined it without a 5-paragraph excuse. She saw an email come in after 6 p.m. and resisted the twitch to reply instantly. She started practicing the word no, and this is the important part, learned to say it without feeling that wave of guilt wash over her. And you know what happened? Absolutely nothing. The world kept spinning, her friends still liked her, her career didn't implode, but for her, everything changed. She started to rediscover her own energy, her own time, her own purpose. Now, the stories of Jake and Mia they're really inspiring, right? They make it sound so simple, but we all know it's not. Why is it so incredibly hard for us to follow their lead? Why are we so deeply fundamentally wired to care so much about what other people think of us? Well, the answer isn't that we're weak. It's actually rooted deep in our psychology. Think about it from a survival perspective. For thousands of years, being part of a tribe meant safety. Approval meant you belonged, and belonging meant you survived. So it's a basic primal instinct baked right into our DNA. But here's the problem. In today's world, that instinct has been hijacked. Social media, especially, has weaponized our need for approval. Likes, shares, comments, they've literally turned validation into a digital currency. And we spend all our time and energy trying to earn it, often at the huge expense of our own mental health. We're caught in a trap that was designed to keep us hooked. Okay, so let's get something crystal clear, because this is probably the biggest misconception out there. Not giving a fuck does not mean becoming apathetic and caring about nothing. It's the exact opposite. It's not avoidance, it's a strategy. It's not carelessness, it's about reclaiming your power. It means you are so fiercely protective of the things that truly matter, your core values, your real goals, your important relationships, that you make a conscious, deliberate choice not to waste a single drop of energy on anything else. It's selective focus. It's a strategic move to take back control of your life. So we get the why, we get the what. Now for the how. How do we actually start putting this into practice in our own busy, noisy lives? All right. Let's break it down into a practical toolkit, a set of mental tools that can help you start filtering out the noise and focusing your energy right where it counts, starting today. First up, audit your attention. Seriously, take out a piece of paper and just list all the things you worry about in a given week. Then go back with a highlighter and mark the ones that genuinely align with your core values. You'll be shocked at how little gets highlighted. Step 2, set boundaries. This is huge. You have to burn this into your brain. Every time you say no to something that doesn't matter, you are saying a powerful yes to something that does. It's not selfish, it's strategic. Third, accept discomfort. Starting to do this is going to feel weird, maybe even a little scary. That's okay. That awkward feeling is a sign that you're growing, that you're pushing past your old limits. And finally, focus on growth. Stop measuring your success with someone else's ruler. Define what success and growth mean to you based on your values, and use that as your only scorecard. So when you start combining all of these ideas, you realize it's more than just a life hack or a productivity tip. It really becomes a philosophy for living a more present, intentional life. To really bring this all home, let me share one final story, a metaphor that kind of ties it all together. I want you to picture a climber on a massive, treacherous mountain. The wind is howling, the weather is turning. You have the voices of doubt swirling all around, some from others telling him to turn back, and some from inside his own head. Every single obstacle, every gust of wind is a temptation to give in to fear and just quit. But he doesn't quit. And why? Because he makes a choice. He deliberately tunes out the noise. He doesn't give a fuck about the doubts, the warnings, the what ifs. He focuses only on the absolute essentials: the next handhold, the security of his gear, and the summit. That's it. By selectively caring, by choosing his focus, he conserves all of his mental and physical energy for what truly matters. And that is how he makes the impossible possible. And that story brings us to the ultimate truth, the real bottom line of this whole idea. Your attention is your life. It's the currency of your existence. Every moment you spend on meaningless drama, on worrying about things you can't control, on battles that don't matter, that's a moment of your life you can never, ever get back. You have to guard your focus and protect your peace like it's the most valuable asset you own. Because it is. You know, this is something we actually go into way more detail on in our Spotify podcast, this whole idea of attention as currency. So if this resonates with you, you should definitely check that out. So in the end, choosing what not to care about, it isn't about surrender or apathy. It's about strategic victory. It's about looking at your life and consciously choosing which battles are actually worth your fight. It's about choosing you. That is the subtle art of not giving a fuck. That is the art of reclaiming your life. So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. What is one small thing you will choose not to care about starting today?